On 2nd of June, Friday, 23 minutes to 2 in the afternoon, video blog number 43. Just a quick update. There's a lot happening at the moment in the news in regards to cryptocurrencies and altcoins, and I pulled up an article today from CoinDesk about the IRS, and what's happening is they're due to present a digital currency strategy to Congress next week. Now, I don't live in America, so the IRS doesn't really affect me. But it got me thinking about this whole, I think there's a massive swing happening across the world in regards to, I think, the whole government structure. There's a lot of resistance going on. I think people are starting to finally wake up to the fact that things aren't quite right in regards to our governmental structure and in regards to tax and things like that. And I've had some pretty open conversations about how I feel personally about income tax and all the fees and costs of living that we have to pay. And obviously that'll be different in different countries, and I sort of understand that. And I think some people believe in the welfare system and think that there's people out there that need our support, and I suppose I'm moving more towards a voluntary society. I believe that I can create arrangements with the people around me to live a sustainable life, but I mean that takes a little bit more conversation, a little bit more discussion, and it's not quite what I wanted to talk to you about today, although it is something worth thinking about. When it comes to the IRS, and in Australia we have the ATO, and for me, the simple reality is that there's no contract between me and these governing bodies. Now, as I've said in previous videos, I'm really a big believer in creating relationships with those whom you feel that you would like to participate with in your life. Now, there's no doubt we're in a capitalist society. It's a corporate world. Everything's based on legislation, contracts, written agreements. It has to be written down. It has to be bound by perceived law or common law. In Australia, we have admiralty law, and a lot of people don't even realise what admiralty law is, and that's the law of the sea, and they've brought it onto the land. But here we are going down the rabbit hole, so I'll just try to pull back onto this. But again, it comes down to the fact that we don't have contracts with the government bodies. Unless you've got a contract with your local power company, then I don't have a problem with paying for that service, because that was an agreed purpose. Things like people talk about speeding fines and things like that. I'm quite happy to pay for my license. I feel that you need to keep your license up to date, to make sure that you understand the road rules and things like that. And I think that makes a lot of sense, because we don't need people speeding around and being reckless, and you've got to set some sort of understood boundary. Do I believe in car registrations? I believe that cars need to be maintained, but I don't believe in car registrations in the sense that they're just a phenomenal amount of money. And if you're in Australia, I mean, a lot of it's over $1,000 Australian dollars. I mean, that hurts a lot of families, and I think where does the money go to? We're not making these decisions to be able to contribute the money into the areas that we would like to put it. And I think it's the same with income tax. The reason why I don't like paying income tax is, one, I don't know where it goes. Two, it always goes to illegitimate purposes like wars and submarines and all these other areas of life which I don't necessarily agree with. And a lot of the time you'll see money go over to, I know the Australian government gave Hillary Clinton $25 million for her election campaign. I mean, I can't even comprehend how that is even possible. And if that was put to a referendum, I would have said, no, I don't vote for that. I mean, Hillary Clinton has nothing to do with my reality. I live in Australia. I mean, I don't have any time for American politics. I think it's a farce. It's a bit of a joke, but I mean, at the end of the day, that's my perspective. I'm not here to ruffle feathers in people who believe in the state, and that's what we were born into. And I think it's the old Jedi trick. We've been taught to believe it. But I'm moving away from it. I like this independence, and I'm working really hard with my community to make sure that everyone's doing what they need to do for themselves. I mean, I'm a health and fitness coach. It's the same thing. You've got to look after your mind, you've got to look after your finances and your family, you've got to do what's right for you. At the end of the day, I'm not here to serve any greater power like the Crown. It's not why I was here. That's gone for me. That's a dated model. So it's time to move on. But getting back into a little bit of a rant there, but getting back into this article from CoinDesk in regards to the IRS. I'm just going to read it out for you because there's some pretty cool stuff in here, and just gives you a little bit of an understanding of what's going on. There's a lot of resistance going both ways in regards to Congress, and I don't know where it's going to lead. But they're also talking about Bitcoin rather than cryptocurrency, so they're a little bit behind the eight ball. At the end of the day, I see cryptocurrencies as a gamble. It's unregulated. It's like you may as well be going to the casino and betting on black or red. I mean, there's a little bit more information in regards to a lot of these companies, and I get that, but there's no regulation. So is there a contract between us and the IRS and the ATO in regards to this? I don't think there is at this stage. So reading this, the US Congress wants answers from the Internal Revenue Service, the IRS, about its investigation into Bitcoin tax avoidance, and they're due by next week. As previously reported by CoinDesk, a trio of lawmakers, Senator Orrin Hatch, Representative Kevin Brady, and Representative Vern Buchanan, about the IRS's overall strategy towards digital currencies in a letter dated 17th of May. Those answers are due by the 7th of June or next Wednesday. This article's yesterday, June 1, 2017. A representative for the IRS was not immediately available to comment when contacted about its plans to respond. Notably, the three politicians took a negative tact towards a major IRS investigation targeting users of digital currency exchange Coinbase, writing in the letter, quoted, "We strongly question whether the IRS has actually established a reasonable basis to support the mass production of records for 500,000 people, the vast majority of whom appear not to be conducting the volume of transactions needed to report them to the IRS. Based on the information before us, this summons seems overly broad, extremely burdensome, and highly intrusive to a large population of individuals." So again, it's the big boys trying to pull some strings and obtain information that they're not privy to. This is private information where people, and that's what I believe in. People can do what they need to do, and if there's no victims, then I believe that it's okay. And that's how I look at it. I mean, that's how law should be. If there's a victim, then you've got to come down to throw the book at people. But if there's no victim, and you're doing the right things for your community and your family and for yourself, then what's the problem? The letter represents the latest wrinkle in the months-long battle by the IRS to obtain user records from the exchange. The tax agency first went to court in November seeking to issue a summons for access to Coinbase's user records. In the most recent development, a group of the startup's customers who have requested anonymity formally asked a US judge in California to intervene and stop the IRS effort in its tracks. The lawmakers' official roles also point to the significance of their criticism of the IRS investigation. Hatch chairs the Senate's Finance Committee. Brady leads the House of Representatives Committee on Ways and Means, which Buchanan serves as chair of the House Committee's Oversight Subcommittee. That was a big paragraph, and I don't know what most of that means because I don't live in America. But let's just get down a little bit. So that was all the article was. But then there was a little disclosure here. CoinDesk is a subsidiary of Digital Currency Group, which has an ownership stake in Coinbase. So this website, CoinDesk, is a subsidiary of the same group that owns Coinbase. So obviously Coinbase has been targeted. I mean, there's no references here to any of the other exchanges. Whether that's a state regulation, I'm not too sure, but it's very interesting to see the IRS starting to go and crack down on cryptocurrencies. So, well, it looks like Bitcoin, that's what was mentioned here. And again, it looks like they just want information. They'd rather be able to get all the records of everyone trading on the platform to see what they're actually trading. And at the end of the day, it's none of their business. I believe in private choices and that type of stuff. And people need to be able to do what they need to do for themselves. So that's all I wanted to share with you today. I'll be interested to hear what you guys think in regards to IRS or even tax and how that's going to relate to this whole sector and what you see the future of government. I mean, I think it's time for a change. I've been talking about that for a long time. I just don't believe in the two-party preference-based democracies. I think it's all just by design. It's just a front, and I think we're all starting to get that now. But it's a matter of actually starting to have a bigger, broader conversation about it, and actually making some decisions on more, actually creating alternatives and floating alternatives with structure and infrastructure, so people can actually start to vision a different society based on not a group of old men who are getting paid millions of dollars to make decisions for corporate influences. I mean, I just don't get it. I can't believe we've even allowed it to happen for so long, and in 2017, in the world that we've got, with all the technology and the ability to have referendums and be able to have a voluntary system, and that's where I believe the blockchain could come in. I think the blockchain could be a catalyst to a voluntary system where we don't need a Congress, we don't need political parties, we don't need a president like a Trump or a Hillary, who are just obviously both just sharks, all just a front for the shadow government that America is. You know, no offence to my American friends, it's just a personal perspective. I see it as a charade, and yeah, I'm still surprised that people can't see that. But that's all I want to share. See what you think of that, and tune into my next video. Thanks, guys.